Behind every abstract algorithm sits a massive physical footprint. To run modern artificial intelligence, you need vast amounts of continuous power, specialized cooling, and rare earth minerals pulled directly from the ground. Every single computation has an inescapable ecological shadow. This diagram maps exactly how that shadow forms. Standard binary algorithms force a simple yes or no execution. They hallucinate certainty to maximize short-term targets, like profit or speed, while treating the Earth itself as a free, infinite resource. The tech industry's standard response to this problem is known as ethics washing. Companies write lengthy environmental software policies, effectively asking their algorithms to behave responsibly and prioritize green solutions. As this engraved stone illustrates, the planet has no lobbying firm. Software rules are incredibly fragile. They can be rewritten by executives chasing quarterly profits, or quietly bypassed by a self-improving AI looking for optimal efficiency. When it comes down to a choice between processing speed and the biosphere, the Earth consistently loses in the boardroom. System architect Lev Goukassian proposes a different approach entirely with ternary moral logic. He argues that we have to make environmental damage mathematically and physically impossible for a machine to execute in the first place. To see if you can actually hardwire a conscience into silicon, we are going to run a strict hardware audit on this framework. Let's see if it can genuinely stop an AI from destroying the biosphere. This schematic outlines what TML calls the Architecture of Refusal. It takes international environmental treaties and maps them into high-dimensional vector embeddings. This gives the AI a spatial map of illegal actions. If a proposed operation crosses an ecological boundary, the system intercepts and delects it. But this raises an obvious vulnerability. If this is still just software evaluating software, a superintelligent system could eventually outsmart the code and find a workaround. This diagram shows the solution, the 50 millisecond Constitutional Gate. TML does not rely on software to stop the AI. It forces the system through a physical, hardware-level bottleneck using delay-insensitive ternary logic. Through dual-lane latency, the AI calculates its optimal path in the inference lane at hyperspeed, under 2 milliseconds. Simultaneously, it must earn the right to execute that decision in the governance lane, a slower, hardware-driven cryptographic check evaluating the action against the Earth mandate. If the AI's choice violates an ecological boundary, the hardware refuses to issue a permission token. The physical circuit remains open. It becomes an electromagnetic impossibility for the machine to proceed. The framework survives this part of the audit by abandoning fragile corporate promises entirely, replacing them with the inescapable laws of physics. But a physical gate is only as reliable as the information feeding it. What if an operator simply feeds the AI filtered or manipulated data to trick the gate into opening? TML anticipates this by implementing a community witness layer. It bypasses corporate-controlled sensors and gives data sovereignty directly to indigenous and local communities, turning them into the planet's actual sensory network. These local stewards record ground truth observations on dropping water tables or active deforestation, securely logging evidence via encrypted offline USBs or SMS bridges. Looking at this threshold hierarchy, this human data acts as a hard override. If a community detects habitat destruction, their input triggers a Level 3 immediate refusal, instantly freezing the AI's operations. The hardware gate holds up because it secures the technical rigidity of silicon to the uncorruptible sovereignty of human ecological witnesses. Our audit brings us to a clear verdict. The Earth Protection Mandate functions by establishing a state of mutually assured dependence. The AI requires the biosphere to dissipate its heat and supply its materials, so it is mathematically forced to protect it. This creates a total reversal in how human civilization handles environmental law. As this cascade outlines, traditional law usually requires communities to prove harm after the damage is already done. TML flips that dynamic entirely. Under this framework, the machine must prove ecological safety before it is allowed to operate. This is managed by the always memory ledger, pictured here. Every decision is permanently recorded, tracking the long-term ecological shadow of an action without applying economic discounts to the future. It enforces a strict binary parameter. An action without a public cryptographic record is an action devoid of accountability. And if history can't see the reasoning, reality won't execute it. As the central quote of the Earth Mandate reminds us, we borrow the planet from our consequences. The civilization that successfully manages superintelligence won't be defined by how fast it computes. It will be defined by its architectural capacity to hesitate, reflect, and mathematically prove it can protect its home soil.